Do something different than I've ever done here. I'm going to turn on my live trading for a few minutes. I do a live trading room every morning, every trading morning from 7:30 in the morning Pacific time for 1 hour. So we close it at 8:30. So the fact that I'm giving an 8 a.m. talk here means that I had to cut my trading room short. So if I can figure out how to do it, I'm going to show you my trading room and we're going to wait and show you exactly what's happening so you can see how I trade. So let's see if we can figure that out technically. Uh, Maybe we can't. Maybe I can't do it.
You'd have to reshare.
Oh, I see. So click on that. Uh, well, I can't figure it out. We'll leave it for the end and see if there's anything going on at that point. Who's TW? Trevor Williams. TW is who? Somebody said hi, Sunny. So Tiana. Hi, hi, Tiana. How are you? So I had back surgery. I had spinal surgery in the right in the middle of January. I was having cauda equina, which is very dangerous, and my legs went numb on me. My body fell out from under me, and I landed on the ground. And they took me by ambulance, and I had emergency surgery as soon as I got to the hospital. It was that bad. Uh, there was a risk of being lame for the rest of my life. So I had that done, and now it's 8 weeks later, and I'm still recovering, still using a walker to walk, but I'm doing so much better. But that means I didn't get to trade for the first 8 weeks of the year. And nevertheless, if I could figure out how to share, I would show you. But with 8 weeks missing, I'm still up 71%. 71% we're up for the year. So that's pretty darn good. It's being set up for a real good year. We had a good year last year. I was up 148%. So that's good. But in my book, it's not good at all because the year before that, I was up 482% for the year. So I'm looking for another 400% year this year. And I wish I could show it to you. We'll work on that later. All right, so I'm going to show you exactly what I do and what I use and why, to me, trading is just the easiest thing I can do. So let's go. My passion, and I'm serious about this, is in helping beginners learn to trade. My first book was Trading 101, How to Trade Like a Pro. So that can tell you right there what I'm interested in, helping other people. My third book, well, my second book was Trading 102, Getting Down to Business. The third trading book is Getting Started in Trading. So you can see that I really love helping people learn how to do this. I wish they would come to me sooner. I mean, they go through so many things to start with. They try this and they try that and they try something else. And by the time they come to me, they're worrying about getting enough money to make up for all the losses they had. So my recommendation is come to me sooner. Let's get you while you still have some money and get you trading successfully. I have a talk this week with a fellow who's an anesthesiologist. And between surgeries, he trades and he uses Sunny Bands. He's been using it for 5 years now. And he's up, I don't remember. I think he started with $500,000 and he's up over 4 million now using Sunny Bands. That's just one example. I have another fellow who started with $20,000 and he's up over 2 million now using Sunny Bands, which is what I use for everything. So I do love to help beginners and intermediate traders. These two fellows weren't complete beginners, but they weren't intermediate yet either. So I help them get up to speed. And that's what this talk is for, people who have not yet become wildly successful. And I would say that 148% is pretty wildly successful, but 482% is certainly wildly successful. I'd like to see you do the same thing. The talk's for people who have not traded much and want to learn more, and folks who want to improve their trading results. I love to teach and mentor and consult. You can see that. That's evident in the fact that I invite people to call me. On the top of my website is my cell phone number. You can call me anytime. I work 12 hours a day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. 6, 7, 8 p.m. So you can call me anytime during that time and I'll just talk to you. It's free. I just chat and I don't have a salesperson. So you're not going to get accosted by somebody trying to sell you something. I like to help you out. I like to hear your stories. I like to give you hints about what I do and how you can do it too. And there's my phone number. That's my cell. I answer it myself. Nobody else answers it. There's no salespeople. 760-908-3070. And let's talk about the business of trading for a minute. Trading is ultimately a business. If it's not a business, you're in trouble already because you're playing with it. If you're just playing with it, you really aren't that interested in it. So make it your business. It should be approached as a business for sure. Anything less is folly. If you're trading it for fun, you're going to lose money. If you're trading it for the excitement, you're going to lose money. Trading is a solitary endeavor. There's nobody sitting beside you or at the next desk over that you can have coffee chat with. Usually you don't have any employees. You're the trader, researcher, manager, and chief bottle washer. Now we have some disclaimers to talk about. This long thing here says, don't trade with anything you can't afford to lose. That's the summary of this one. And it talks about hypothetical results not being real. Past performance is not a predictor of future results. And then at that, I always say, well, then what are you going to use? If you can't use past performance, what else is there? So you have to know what the past performance is of somebody that you're going to be following, but it doesn't necessarily predict that they're going to make money in the future. All investing involves risk of loss, and individual investments may vary. Your capital is at risk when you invest. You can lose some or all of your money, and never, this is the most important sentence in the whole thing, never risk more than you can afford to lose. If you've got $10,000 in your account and you can't light it on fire, then don't trade with it. And let me go back to that for a second. I have the full disclosure on my website. This talk, the PDF of this talk is already posted on my website. If you go to moneymentor.com/appearances, you'll see every talk that I've given and all the way back for several years. And my disclosures are on there. You can see exactly what all this information is. I am a professional trader. I'm not a part-time trader. I'm a full-time trader. And I have been for a little more than 45 years now. January 1st, it was 45 years. I trade futures, gold, stocks, and crypto. Crypto's not doing so well these days. I do not trade options. I found out that I was really successful at losing money trading options, so I gave that up. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, but first I'm going to show you how I trade. Come on, why? So I follow 3 simple rules, and I use something called Sunny Bands. It's an indicator that I created. I started working on it as soon as I started trading in 1981, but it took me 3 years to get it to work the way I wanted it to work, and that's what I've used ever since. So 45 minus 3, so 42 years I've been using Sunny Bands and nothing else. And it still continues to work so far. And that's all there is. 3 simple rules. Seems like I'm missing something here. No, that's it. Okay. So here's a chart. This one's on Metastock. I have Sunny Bands running on 4 platforms: TradeStation, Multi-Charts, Metastock, and NinjaTrader. I said that slowly because people call me right after the talk and say, do you have your Sunny Bands on TradingView? No. Metastock, Multi-Charts, TradeStation, and NinjaTrader. Those are the 4 that it works on. Several of the other platforms, including TradingView, don't have a robust enough programming language for me to program Sunny Bands with them. So that's why they don't exist, because the capability is not there. On this chart, you'll see 4 bands: green, blue, blue, and green. So those are surrounding price action. And in the middle, you'll see a double line that's gold and purple. The gold and purple, pardon me, gold and purple is my dynamic moving average, DMA, dynamic moving average. And that is the key to the whole thing. I found out very early on that moving averages don't work. Moving average crossovers are too late, and you end up with whipsaw because they cross over and back, and you lose money. Only during a sustained trend will moving averages work for you. Same is true with RSI and stochastics and MACD, and everything is too slow. You can see the purple goes on top, and here on this side, gold goes on top. But you'll notice that this is too late. By the time you take a short trade here, the move's over. And here, when it crosses over, the move's over by the time it signals you to take a trade. So I don't trade that way. I trade with this dynamic moving average. I call it dynamic because it calculates its own lengths. Normally in a moving average, they'll start you out with the default of 9 for the slow, the fast moving average, and 18 for the slow moving average. So instead of 9 and 18, you don't have to put anything in my indicator. Whatever you put, it will calculate its own values, and it changes them with every tick of the market. No, they don't go back and redraw, so you don't have to worry about that. But every tick of the market, this thing looks at it and it says, how fast is it moving? How much is it moving from the center line? And then it calculates its inputs. So it's a dynamic moving average. And from that dynamic moving average, I have average true ranges, ATR. So we've got 1.2 average true ranges and 2.0 average true ranges from the DMA, dynamic moving average. And the other thing that's on this chart is yellow dots. You see the little yellow dots at the perfect turning points? That's my PHW indicator, which stands for potential hourly wage. That means it calculates how much I would have made if I had found all the perfect entry points like this. And that's important to me because I don't want to trade an entity unless there's some money to be made. So if this thing were flat and it had just a few yellow dots, that would tell me it's not worth my time. So potential hourly wage. And if you want to give me a call, I can explain it to you in full, and I can give you a free trial to any of those 4 platforms. I can give you a free trial so you can see it for yourself. And during the free trial, I always do 2 Zoom calls, one so that I can set up and install and introduce you to how it works. And the other Zoom call is just to talk and to trade in the live market. So if you want to get a free trial, give me a call or text me free trial. And here, you see at the bottom of every slide, You can see my phone number. There's my cell phone number again, the bottom of every one. My website is moneymentor.com, moneymentor.com. And my email is pretty easy. It's sunny@moneymentor.com. The other indicator I have on here is my dynamic moving average histogram. So you see this histogram that's golden red, golden red, golden red. And then in this right here, it goes purple and green. So the primary color tells me what's on top, purple or gold. So it's talking about the dynamic moving average. So with gold on top of the zero line, that tells me gold's on top. When it turns red, it tells me, yes, gold is still on top, but it's getting narrower. This measures the difference between the gold and purple lines. So it's the difference which you can hardly see because they're almost on top of each other. So this helps you see who's on top. And when it's red, it tells me gold is still on top, but it's losing momentum. Then it goes gold again on top, tells me we're speeding up again, we're still going positive. And when it comes over here and goes under the zero line, it turns purple. Now that tells me purple's on top. So with purple on top, we're basically looking at down movements. And when gold's on top, we're basically looking for up movements. When it turns green, so it goes from purple to green, green tells me it wants to look for buys now, and the momentum is fading. So that's it. That's the whole system. Let me tell you real quick why I use blue candles. Sunny bands are green. So blue contrasts for greater visibility. So instead of green candles, I'm using blue for up moves. So here we go with the rules. Here's a chart. We see blue moving up. We hit the dynamic moving average and stutter, and then we go back up again on blue. The dynamic moving average is flat across here. You can see that it's flat there, and I'll tell you what that means. So level 1 rules, there's 3 levels. I enter long when red candles have been moving downward. So prior to this, I should have shown that there were red candles. And they touch the lower outer band, LOB, lower outer bands. There's just this bottom green line. And then the candles turn blue and move back inside the lower outer band. And then I say, if price confirms. So by that, I mean, if I'm getting blue candles, I want price to move up. If price is moving down, I'm not going to enter that. So I want 2 blue candles, and I want price to confirm by showing me that it's actually going up. I enter short when we've had blue candles moving upward and touch the upper outer band. That's this one. And turn red and move back inside the upper outer band. So see how this moves back inside. And they're red, so now I know the overall view of this is south. We're going to go down, short, drop, whatever you want to call it. We're moving down on red candles. So that's basic rules level 1. Level 2 rules talk about this flat DMA that I showed you earlier. If the DMA midline is flat, that is the angle is, the slope of the angle is visually sideways, so you can see this is sideways, then I don't, quote, expect price to move very far beyond the midline. In fact, flat DMA often acts as a barrier to further movement. So that's important to remember. And the other thing that I don't have on here that's important to remember is that if it moves up and it touches the flat DMA like it does here, or if it comes close and there's not enough room to make any profit. So if I took this trade, which says go long, there's no profit to be made between there and the DMA. Likewise over here, no profit to be made. So I don't take a trade if there's no profit. That's just common sense, right? So I'm just going to look at the bars and say, how close are they to the DMA? It often acts as a barrier to further movement. Remember that. I forget it all the time. I know instinctively what I'm looking for, but I always forget. A barrier to further movement. Okay, level 3 rules. If we've got a trend, stick with it. That's what this says. So if gold is on top, you stay long until the DMA is penetrated. So here we've had a flat DMA, we're waiting, we get it over here, and then it goes up, 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 up. So it's in a trend and it's staying, not only is it staying up above the DMA, it's staying in the space between the upper outer band and the upper inner band. So these two bands, we're staying in there. So we're going up, 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 and here it touches the DMA. So you stay long until the gold DMA is penetrated. So all this from here to here, that's weeks if this is a daily chart. So we stay long for weeks. And then level 3, purple rules. So AB, I guess, this is level 3B. Likewise, if we're in a downtrend, we're going to stay with the downtrend until the DMA, the purple line in this case, is penetrated. So here we're going to purple's on top. You can see that purple's on top, purple's on top. And we get down here and purple is penetrated by price movement. So we get out and take profits. This is the area that's so important to the DMA and is not offered in any other indicator. You can see how this tries to cross over, and it just barely, but it stays above the DMA, gold DMA that whole time. Okay, 3 simple rules. That's all there is. So when I say, is that all there is? That's it, 3 rules. 1, generally rising or falling. 2, flat. And 3, trending. Those are the 3 rules. We have to ask those 3 questions of ourselves. So when you print these slides out or copy them for yourselves, whatever you do, keep this slide in mind. 1, generally rising or falling. 2, flat. And 3, trending. My website is moneymentor.com. I've had that website up since 1995. Of course, I've changed it many times over the years, but that's where it's been for a long time. I don't know how many years that is, but that's a long time. When I put Money Mentor up on the web, it was still called the World Wide Web by everyone. And in 1995, there were a total of 10,000 users on the web. Now I think it's 3 billion. So that's a lot of difference between when I was first there and now. There was no HTML. There were no editors to help you. It was difficult to use, but it was brilliant. I just loved it. In fact, I started out working for Lockheed Missiles and Spacecraft up in Northern California. And I had been part of the early users of what was not yet called the internet. It was, what did we call it yet? ARPANET. And so I could communicate with the UC California facilities. I could communicate with Lockheed Martin. I could communicate with all the other spacecraft kinds of industries. And we could pass secret information back and forth, which made life a lot easier than having to package it up and send it with a courier. So if you want a copy of the slides, go to moneymentor.com/downloads. You can get the 3 rules under, well, let's go back there. You can get the 3 rules under, if you go to moneymentor.com/downloads, then you'll see a list of all the things you can download. The 4th bullet down says Sunny Band's rules. So it's a little 9-slide presentation. You can download it, print out the 3 slides that are important, tape them on your bulletin board or behind your computer so you can see them at all times and follow them. That's it. Okay, let's get deeper into this with some examples. First, I'm going to go backwards and tell you a little bit about myself. I've told you some of it throughout this, but we're going to get deeper. So I am a professional trader as opposed to a part-time trader. I get designated professional trader because I trade every day and I trade in and out. I am a day trader. I'm out at the end of every day before the close. But if you're a professional trader, they charge you 2 or 3 times as much for commissions and fees and all that. It's much more expensive. I've been a professional trader since 1981. That's 45 years. Through all the crashes during that time, 41% crash of 1987, 38% crash of 2000, 52% crash of 2007, 2008, as well as the 38% COVID crash. Now, the question is, when is the next one? And it's more timely, even if you look at it now. Are we in a crash at the moment? We're down 8% from the top. 10% down would be considered a correction. 20% down is considered a crash or a recession. So we're 8% down so far. I'll show you that in a few minutes too. Thank you for the well wishes for my recovery. Okay, David Cosmeter took his dog out to poop. Do I use Scanner? Yes, I do use Scanner. I don't primarily trade stocks. I primarily trade the S&P futures contract, but I also keep a portfolio of stocks when I think stocks should be held. And I do use a scanner to find those. Slides are already posted. If you want to go to moneymentor.com/appearances, you'll see the slides are already there. And the 4 platforms that the indicator works on are TradeStation, Multi-Charts, Metastock, and NinjaTrader, not Thinkorswim. Do my indicators these days? Absolutely. It's better now for that than it ever was. When the market's choppy, you got to trade faster. So I trade 5-minute and 15-minute charts. So I look at a 5 to see what's going on chop wise, and at a 15 to see what the trend is. And if we have time at the end, I'll show you some of my trading. We'll see if we can switch these slides over. Can the bands be applied to Forex? Absolutely. Sunny Bands works on any symbol on any time frame. So 15-minute, 5-minute, 1-minute, Renko charts, daily, weekly, monthly, any of that. It works on all of those and on any symbol, including Forex. So a lot of people say that the S&P is the most difficult market to trade because it moves so fast. But I've been doing it since 1982 when the S&P came into being. And it's the one I love and the one I know the best. But I do have stocks that I hold. I've got a list of 16 stocks. Let's see, I have a workspace called Watch. Let's see if I can find that here. National Numbers Holdings Watch. So I trade 16 stocks. A lot of them are the Nifty, I can't think of the name of it right now, but they're the most watched stocks. I don't like to trade things that aren't liquid. I like really liquid. Netflix, Microsoft, NVDA, Palantir, things like that. And I primarily trade things that I know, Walmart, PayPal. So I trade things that are part of my daily life. And that way I know them I know what's going on with them. I listen to the news. Oh, Dell. I just bought a new Dell computer that's supposed to be here today. I trade on a laptop, a gaming laptop, because I figure a gaming laptop is about as fast as you can get. And my current Alienware laptop is 6 years old. So I'm getting rid of that and getting me a brand new Dell Alienware. So I'm staying, this is my sixth Alienware computer over the last 20 years or so. Tesla, Google, Dell, NVDA, Hood, Robinhood I trade because I have my crypto at Robinhood. Uh, I trade Ethereum. That's my crypto holding, which is I'm just holding on. I'm not doing a thing with it, just holding on. Meta, Walmart, uh, Apple. So I watch those stocks and I scan them for direction and momentum and what they're doing with sunny bands. So depending on where they are with sunny bands, I'll buy and hold. Now, hold to me in my stock portfolio means weeks to months. That's really long term to me. When you're trading a 5 minute chart, weeks to months is very long term. And I like it because it's the most liquid market. I'm going to show you a long term. Here we go. Treating liquidity in futures. In the technical analysis of stocks and commodities magazine. If you don't have that one, get it. Subscribe to it. It's cheap and it's really good. I've got years and years worth in my archives. So in the back, there's a table. This is usually in the last 4 or 5 pages called Trading Liquidity Futures. And you can see, you can't read it because it's so small at this point, but you can see that this top one has stars that go all the way across, and then they become greater than symbols, which means it goes off the page. It's so liquid, it goes off the page. And that is the E-mini S&P futures contract. So I only trade things that are in the first 5 for being the most liquid. Don't buy something you can't sell. If you can get into a lumber's contract, but you can't get out of it, you're in trouble. Don't buy something you can't sell. Buy something that you can go in and out and not have a lot of slippage and get the price that you were looking for. Then that's the way to go. Now let me have a little intercession here. Let's talk about some free stuff. The PDF of this talk is already on my website for members. Membership is free, so just click on membership at the top menu bar. Fill out the little form for me so I'll know who you are. It's free, as I said. Give me your password and I'll set you up so you can get into the members areas of the Money Mentor. So I want you to go to appearances.html or it's also at moneymentor.com/appearances. And you can see all the talks that I've given, including this one and the PDF of this one. I do a free podcast called The Sonny Harris Show, which used to be with Sam Tennis, but Sam Tennis died this year or last year, actually. So my best friend's gone. And he's the fellow I wrote my 7th and 8th books with. He's he was known as Mr. Easy Language. He's the inventor of Easy Language and the programmer who did it all with a programming team. And there wasn't a question he couldn't answer. So the Sonny Harris Show, I interview famous traders. So I've got Larry Williams and Jake Bernstein and John Bollinger and on and on and on. I've got all the famous traders posted there. Sonny Harris Show, free podcast. And then I've got a little missive that I create every night. It's not every night right now because I'm still too under the weather. I can't sit for very long because my back is still a mess. But I do try to do it every night. It's a Substack called Where's the Dow Going From Here? And I've been really accurate with predictions. I tell you where I think it's going to go tomorrow, and it usually does. So that's free. And at the end of this session, I'm going to give you one free week to come to my live trading room, which is Trade Along with Sunny, TAWS, TAWS. So every morning at 7:30 in the morning, I do a live trading room, and I'll give you the links so that you can come for free. And here is where I was listed number one trader twice in a row with, when was this? This was 1994. And you can see I'm right at the top. My trading company was Rourke International. And the first year I had 365%, and the next year 178% profit. So that's wildly successful still. And this is a long time ago. And in 2025, I had 132%, 2024, 482%, and I'm up 71% so far for 2026. Oh, a little bit about me. I grew up dirt poor in Appalachia. I mean, we had dirt floors and we were better off than some because our outhouse was a two-holer. So about a block and a half from the house, we had an outhouse. And, there's all kinds of things connected with that. But then I figured out that the best way to get out of Appalachia was to get an education. So I got a BA, an MS, and a PhD in mathematics and an AA. After I retired, I got an AA in photography. I've been programming for 58 years. I started programming when I was 19. I've been trading for 45 years. And I was a systems programmer for Lockheed Missiles and Spacecraft. So I worked on the shuttle and spy satellites and all that kind of good stuff. I had a top secret clearance and I was a programmer. And then 5 years after I started work at Lockheed, with a couple of guys, I created a little company called ISCO, and we were the world's leader in computer graphics software. And then I retired when I was 30. And I gave all my money to money managers because I figured I didn't know anything about trading or investing or the market or any of that. I didn't know anything about economics. So I gave my millions to money managers. And in 3 weeks, the first 3 weeks, they lost $75,000. That's not a lot out of the total that they had, but still, it's a big loss to me. And I figured I can do that poorly on my own. So I taught myself to trade by reading books. And now I've read 748 books on trading. And if I were to show you my live video, you'd see the bookshelf behind me. It's full of books. But I didn't enter a single trade for the first year. I just watched the market. I learned. And I would ask my primary question: what is true? What is true? What is true? What's true about the way it's moving? What's true about how fast it's going? And what's true about the market versus the moving averages, etc. So, what is true? I've written 9 best-selling books: Trading 101, 102, Electronic Day Trading 101. Pardon my voice. Let me take a little drink here. Hope that helps. Getting started in trading, TradeStation Made Easy. And then I wrote Going Vegan, little adventure with my friend, the actress Linda Blair. So we wrote Going Vegan. Actually, she talked, I wrote. And then with Murray Ruggiero, who's also deceased now, I wrote Using Easy Language 9.x. And then I wrote The Definitive Guide to TradeStation's Easy Language and OOEL Programming with Sam Tennis, who I told you died August of last year. Thank goodness we got the book out first. And then I've written articles for all the major trade magazines. I primarily write for Traders World and Stocks and Commodities magazine now. Here are the covers of the books. So you can recognize them if you see them in the bookstore or in the library or wherever you go for books. These are the two most recent. easy language and OEL programming. And it's 1,300 pages between the two books. So there is just chock full of information. And the cool thing is, if you buy these books and send me proof of purchase, so send me a copy of the receipt or something, then I'll send you the code for all the examples in the books. So there's over 300 examples. I can send you the code for them so you don't have to type it in. I have a page called Quips and Quotes on my website. So you can see everything that anybody's ever texted me or emailed me, I put it in there. And the most recent one I got was "Thanks, Sonny." And then he attached his profit and loss statement for the 2025 year. And he's been using Sunny Bands for the last 5 years. And this last year, he made $98,000. He's up to 4 million now since he's been using Sunny Bands. He's the guy that started with 20,000. But that's all he said. "Thanks, Sonny," and attached the report. So I figured out what he was saying. And it just goes on from there. You could see, and if I got a bad comment, I'll post that as well. So you can see everything that's been said that I know about. If you go to my Substack and look for Sunny Harris, you'll see where I post my free market predictions. I'll get back to every night pretty soon. As soon as I'm free to walk farther away from the bed, I'll do them every night again. Here's the link, tcrgsunny.substack.com. And there's the link if you want to click on it. When you get the PDF, you can click on it and do it. Where will the Dow go from here? So every day or so, I post the latest prediction, and it's free for now. I'm not charging for subscriptions. I do have customers all over the world, as you can see from these dots. So don't be afraid to call me if you're from South America or Australia or wherever you are. I get calls at all hours of the day from all over the world. And I love to talk to you. So please give me a call. Currently, the Dow is down 8%. You can see this. And we've had several down moves that are, I mean, this looks like it's doing pretty poorly right now, but in comparison to this one and this one and this one and certainly this one, it's not very bad yet. The one thing I draw straight lines, trend lines, horizontal lines, support and resistance, things like that. And you can see this is the straight line that's currently in effect, and I call them attractors because they attract price to them. So you see over here, I call it the preponderance of price activity. So right over here, we have a turning point. And right over here, we have another turning point. And if you connect those two with the horizontal line, that's the attractor. So you can see we have some more to go before it gets down to there. It's down 7.6% so far as of yesterday. I expect it'll go down to this attractor, which is minus 10%. And only if it goes down into the 20% is it considered a bear market. At this point, it's just a little correction. If your money's in it, it's not just a little correction, but it's just a little correction so far. Now we're going to talk about something important, and that is, how do you make a six-figure income? That's everyone's goal, right? You want to replace your salary. You want to get rich quick. And this is how we do it. So let's start with something that's easily divisible. $120,000 a year. If you divide that by the 12 months in the year, you can see we get $10,000 a month. $10,000 a month. Oh, you get a 404 rule on my Sunny Bands. Thank you for letting me know that. I'll fix it after our talk. Do you lease or sell the Sunny Bands? I license them. So for one fee, it's yours for the rest of your life. And what else? So license, one-time fee, all support and all corrections, updates are free from then on. And And let's see what else I have. Yeah, my Alienware computers are fast. Yes, they surely are. Do I think the NASDAQ trades faster than the ES futures? They trade just about the same. If I have a little indicator called Bing ticks, it makes a Bing sound when the market goes up and a bong sound when the market goes down. And it doesn't matter which one I have them on, they both trade about the same. Thank you again for letting me know that 404. Release or sell. Okay, fantastic. So 12 months into 120 grand a year is $10,000 a month. So if you look at that, you can say, well, that's easier to see making 10,000 a month than it is to say, okay, I'm going to make 120 grand this year. So divide it by 12, we get whatever your goal is, divide it by 12. And then there's 20 trading days per month. So if you divide the $10,000 a month by 20 days, you get $500 a day. Now that's a lot more achievable. That's something that you can say, all right, I can do that. I can see how my trading could bring in $500 a day. But let's take it one more step. That's 5 trades of $100 each. Who can't do that? That just takes a quick in and quick out, and you've got $100. And there's usually the potential's there. If you look at the PHW of the E-mini, you'll see that there's between $1,000 and $3,500 per day potential. Going both long and short, just one contract. So 5 trades at $100 each. That's doable. So that's how I break everything down. I'm very systematic. I'm very logical. I'm a mathematician. I think with math, numbers are my business. So before you start trading, determine your goals. How much do you want to make per year? And divide it into attainable daily figures so you can see what you're realistically looking at. And I want you to develop a written plan, not just pie in the sky, wave your hands, I'm going to make $100 on 5 trades a day. Make it a written plan, how you're going to do it, what system you're going to follow, how much is it exactly. Plan your strategy, test your strategy, and then if the stats are good from that testing, keep going. If they're not, go back to number 1 and start again. I'm just very logical. That's the way I approach life. Then I have an index that I created, CPC, which stands for Cardinal Profitability Constructs. I use 3 numbers from my performance summary, and I multiply them all 3 together. And if the outcome is greater than 1.2, so profit factor times percent profitable times ratio, if that's greater than 1.2, it's tradable. If it's not greater than 1.2, go back and start over. And I'm sure all of you know who Kevin Davey is. He tests everything in the world. And he, unbeknownst to me, tested my CPC index. And in his article, he started out saying, this is crazy. It's probably not going to work. What difference do these 3 numbers make? It's not any good. And by the end of the article, he was convinced and thought, well, this is a good thing, and it does work. So if you can get a hold of that, you can read his discovery. So here we go. First thing we always look at is total net profit. So whatever this was I was testing, it was $3,000. That's profitable. And I don't even know what time frame it's over, but I just wanted to print this out to show you. Here's profit factor, 2.48 times percent profitable, 0.7059. So you have to do it as a decimal point. And then ratio of the average win to the average loss is 1.03. So if you multiply those 3 together, okay, so here it is. It's greater than 1.2. It's 1.8. John Bollinger once said, each of these numbers, profit factor, percent profitable, ratio, all have to be greater than 2. And I thought, that can't be right. It's really difficult to get them all greater than 2 in the first place. And secondly, there should be some kind of flexibility rolling the numbers. If the percent profitable is really high, then maybe the ratio doesn't have to be as high. It's got to be some way to roll one of them higher and one of them not as high. So that's how I came up with multiplying the 3 of them together. There's only one reason to trade: to make money, right? Everybody say with me, there's only one reason to trade, and that's to make money. If you're doing it for any other reason, I dare say you're not profitable. If you're doing it for the excitement, the challenge, making a few extra dollars, supporting the family, the thrill of the win, and then the hardest one is to live on. If you're trying to make money to live on, it's really difficult when you have a negative month. So be sure that the only reason you're trading is to make money. We're trying to maximize that reason. So $200 a day for 1 year, so 192.46. This is the way that curve looks. This is $192 a day for 1 year. Curve goes up like that. And you can see the list of trades, and this is just theoretical, but it's an important exercise. So I'm looking at 260 trading days. What is this? $50,000 by the end. Now I have a spreadsheet called Ultimate F, and it's the ultimate fraction at which you maximize your return by compounding. Okay, so I'm looking at Ralph Vince's work, and I'm saying, okay, there's got to be a way where you can find the fraction at which you make more than any other fraction. And if you exceed that fraction on the right hand side, you don't make as much. And if you don't match it up on the left hand side, you don't make as much. So I have a spreadsheet that I do offer for sale. I chart just about everything, and I keep my chart every day. And I'll put the spreadsheet where you can keep track of them. I'm not putting the Ultimate F spreadsheet on Money Mentor, but become a free member and you can get that spreadsheet to keep track of your trades. Well, that's weird. The slide where there's a slide somewhere that has a red line showing how much more you make if, let's go back there for a second. So there's a slide that goes after this one that shows where the red line is, and it goes up to $250,000. Instead of 50,000, you're making 250 just by judiciously increasing the number of contracts you trade. So the number of contracts you're trading goes up and down, hopefully always up, but not. Sometimes you have to take contracts off if you're having a losing period. But this one gets up to like 20 contracts, and I don't allow it to ever go beyond 20 contracts because I figure you can move the market with 20 contracts, and I don't want to be seen. So I'll revise the presentation and get that red line in there on this one. Somebody remind me. Okay, so no, you need to know your audience. Who are you trading for, yourself or for others? If you're trading for yourself, your audience is you. If you're doing it for others, your audience is them. For instance, when I'm trading for my live trading room, I'm very, very aware every day of the fact that they're seeing my trading and seeing how much I'm making. So your audience is them if you're doing it for others. And if you're doing it like I do, where I trade daily live for an audience, then the audience is you and them. So it's for me because I'm looking at my results, and it's for you because you're looking at my results. There will always be losses. It's just a fact of life. We all have them. So be sure to account for them. If you plan to make $200 a day, you probably should allow for making $400 a day and losing half of it. Let me take a drink of coffee. Maybe that'll help. So keep track of the details. Be sure to account for commissions. They're in there. I paid $15,000 in commissions last year. Commissions when I first started trading were $50 a side on the S&P. So if you trade one contract, it's $100 in and out. Now it's $1.20 a side, which is just comical in a way. Stock and ETF commissions at TradeStation are zero. Stock options are 60 cents a contract. Margin requirement on TradeStation is the lowest in the industry. Margin requirement will govern how many contracts you can trade. Keep track of all your expenses, commission and brokerage expenses, slippage, office space. Even if you're trading out of your garage, it still has expenses associated with it. You got to pay for the lights. You got to allocate part of the mortgage payment for your space. You have office expenses like paper and ink and computer expenses, software expenses. So I just spent $7,000 on a new Alienware, so I've got to put that in my expenses. I bought TurboTax, so software expenses, taxes. In a retail business, now this is important and interesting. In a retail business, you're happy with 10% profit per year. So a restaurant or a clothing store or music store, any of those things, 10% profit per year is about what they're looking for. New traders, however, all think they want to make 100% per year. They all think that that's going to be easy too. And by the way, 90% of people who become traders today will have blown out their account by a year from today. 90% blow them out. Some people say 95% blow them out. It's really easy to do, especially if you're trading with a prop firm. That's a crock, excuse me, but prop firms are not the way to go. It's next to impossible to make money trading, and especially to make 100%. A CTA is a commodity trading advisor. It's the big futures traders, companies where they're trading your money for you. There's a big book, which is a survey of all of them. There's 2,000 CTAs in the book. And I averaged them all their return together, all 2,000 of them, and it came up to 0%. So the average of the professionals is 0%. The top half of them, so I took 500, 1,000 of them off of there. So I got the top half. They were making 10% on average. And then I took the top half of that. So we've got 500 traders left. And they were making 30%. Now, that's good. That's very good to be making 30%. That's the top half of the top half of the CTAs. So don't expect more than that. And then TradeLog is a little program I use. If you make lots of trades, you definitely want to use TradeLog. And it makes sense to keep track of your trades if you do lots of trades like I do. If you do just a few, you can keep that on a spreadsheet. And it'll also do your taxes for you, which is the hardest part about trading. I think it's $359 a year. I'm not sure of that. Don't quote me, but give them a call or click on this link when you get the PDF downloaded. If you make fewer trades, a spreadsheet will do just fine, and the reports from your platform. And these are the 4 platforms I have my stuff available for. And now I'm going to quit. This is a spreadsheet that I'm going to put on the web for you, so you can, on Money Mentor, so you can use this to keep track of your daily trades and see if you can get 482% per year. And this is what I did in 2025. You can see I had to get used to the Trump chaos. So there's a big period of 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks that I had down trades. And then I got used to the Trump chaos and I did fine after that. So if you were someone new and you came to me and you wanted to learn to trade, first thing I would tell you is don't do it. 90% of all new traders wipe out their accounts and only 10% succeed. So it's a pretty dangerous profession. I wish I could get 10% of that year. Yeah. See, it's really hard to get 10% per year. The thing that most people do is lose. I'm going to cut my presentation short here. It's my time's up and I'm going to let it go from there. I'm going to go forward fast, really fast, faster, and get to how you can contact me. We need to talk about PHW when you call me so we can chat. I'm cutting that out. Oh boy, I did a lot of chatting with you today. Well, let's see if we can do this. Escape. And that's the slide I was looking for. Here's my phone number. It's my cell phone. It's on me at all times. And I don't answer it when I'm in the shower, though. So you can email me, you can call me, you can look at my website. It's free. And my number, again, 760-908-3070. Give me a call. Okay, David,